the $10 million bet that Monsanto still hasn't come to claim from an MIT student who dares to say there are no standards with GMO on this edition of Hippie versus Jock. This strange thing that's going on with GMO nowadays. Is it me, or is anybody else wondering exactly what the hell is happening with GMO? It is extremely funny, because I had a freaking troll, and since then I just banned his ass from my channel. It's like, honestly, I just don't want to deal with it. You think GMOs are wonderful? Fine, put the shit up on your channel and on how wonderful GMOs are. He basically said that, and it was a professional troll, by the way, because I found a video of somebody else who ran into the same thing who was not exactly pro-GMO, where he like goes back and forth and just trolls a whole bunch of GMO things on various people's channels. If he's pro-GMO, he can eat that shit and then put it up on his channel how wonderful it is. But anyway, sorry for the language, but probably necessary at this point with that particular subject. Anyway, back to this GMO thing. We have an MIT student who has basically bet Monsanto a $10 million building that there are no standards as far as GMO and safety. GMO and Monsanto, nobody's actually stepped up to the plate to take this gentleman's building. And I'll tell you why. Folks, people that are pro-GMO, I'm not sure exactly what the heck they're looking at, because if you go to the FDA website, here is what it reads like, and I'm just going to paraphrase. Basically, whether or not folks want to take their GMO products to safety, that's basically a them thing. It's kind of like trusting a fox to guard the hens. And essentially what it says is that Monsanto and these other GMO companies have a standard to meet, that their food must have the same safety as other foods, and that basically is voluntary whether or not they want to have their foods in this, or what we call food, in this program. Now, I'll be frank with you, that was the weirdest wording I've ever found going through a site on something people are actually heated about. You got millions and thousands upon people marching on what they call March on Monsanto, and probably coming up again in March. You got people who are basically testing this stuff independently, because there are no official tests as far as Monsanto, as far as releasing things. They talk about it's their proprietary things, and they have patents on it and things like that. So for the most part, for me, it's something that's kind of weird, where, you know what, it's like I see people having personal problems with a lot of these guys selling things on YouTube as far as products and stuff like that. For the most part, I get it. Some of the stuff, as far as I'm concerned, is probably absolute crap. But one thing that they are doing is they actually put their face to these particular products. And that I can actually respect. You know, a guy, you know, whether or not the product is good, is putting his face on the particular product. I can live with that. That means they have, I can't say any, basically balls, or they back it to an extent, which is exactly what Monsanto is not willing to do. They won't even label this stuff. So that right there should be a red flag for everybody. And right now there's something called the Dark Act, which is floating around in the Senate, which I'll be more than curious to find out exactly which senators are going to be sponsoring this bill. But the Dark Act basically takes already set standards that are in particular states. I know Vermont is one of the states that has GMO labeling that's actually supposed to start up, I believe, within the next few months, if it hasn't actually, yeah, the next few months, where GMOs need to be labeled. And if the product is safe, like they say, you'd be more than happy to say it. It's like, hey, this is my product, it's GMO, it's the bomb, GMO's inside. You remember when Intel used to have that little slogan where it said Intel inside? They were more than happy with their product and letting you know that their product was inside of this particular machine, and yes, we stand behind it because Intel's inside. You don't have that crap with GMO. It's like the biggest secret. No, we don't want you to know that's in this. Honestly, GMO is in the majority of the crap you eat nowadays. And for some people, they don't want to eat the crap because they've seen enough things where obviously there's some sort of problem. They have rats that have been given this that all of a sudden develop these big ass cancer cells on them, big ass tumors. You have mice that over a few generations start to become small and weak, and you know all kinds of people doing independent tests because they can't do it officially through GMO or through the actual big agribusiness places because they don't want you to know, which seems kind of suspicious to me. So, you know, until there's some sort of transparency, which seems to be less in government nowadays, and also less in what we actually are putting in our bodies, and you know, they have the vaccines, which I'll actually just go into a whole nother subject with that, because that's kind of like a little personal vendetta too, considering my son is autistic, and it managed to happen right around that time. But you know, for the most part, all I'm gonna say on GMOs is it seems kind of weird to me that once again you have this product, so in the majority of the things they're supposedly proud of their product. You have this MIT student that's actually stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, here's a $10 million business, show me what you got as far as safety standards. And they don't step up to the plate. You guys be the decision on what you think about that. If I don't call that weird, I'm not sure exactly what you do call weird. Thanks for watching.